Well, good morning, boys and girls. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it to. I don't care, I don't mind. Just pay attention for the next 25, 30 minutes and we'll get on famously. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Great to have you back for another look at a little ball terror. This dull grey gunmetal, as I'm so fond of saying, machine is another one of Germany's finest. You can see it looks pretty unimposing, and if you just had a quick glance at the stats, you'd agree it was pretty unimposing. You might remember I did the 1.11 review update for Wargaming for the German tanks, the Pzr 2, this tank in particular, and its little brother, the 4A. And at the time I noted that I found it hard to find anything to love about this tank until I realised that the pen and the gun were something quite special, and they remain so. This, I think, girls and boys, is the lady killer tank of Tier 4. It is the gentleman or gentlewoman's seal clubbing machine of choice. You don't have that mad YOLO armour of the Matilda or the Pzr B2, that premium Tier 4 seal clubber. You've got a big boy tank. It's got a peekaboo playstyle. It's like driving an M46 Patton or an IS or something along those lines, where you actually don't want to engage in long, drawn-out, visible, bouncing things off your armour engagements like a Matilda or a B2 does. What you want to do is take your shot, hit them for 160 alpha, which is the crazy dirt that this gun has, and receive a shot of 40 or 50 alpha from their little gun, and then back the hell away until your reload cycle is complete. Move forward and repeat the process. Because what happens at this tier is you'll quite often find high rate of fire weapons with low alpha damage. And this tank just is not that. It is a high alpha, low rate of fire weapon. Well, not too low either. It's 6.5 rounds a minute, which is the perfect kind of number for peekaboo. And it has negative 10 degrees of gun depression, which again, you might not realize this as a Tier 4 tank driver, but that's a very, very good number for gun depression. It allows you to peekaboo really successfully from behind objects like berms or cars or logs or whatever you want to do, wherever you can find that cover, and fire without exposing yourself. Now, if we have a look at the 75mm 40 L43, you'll see its main negative is the 0.42 dispersion. 2.3 second aim time is just dandy. 160 alpha is hot diggity dog. And 103 pen on your AP is fan-diddly-tastic. The 139 APCR is something that a few other tanks in its tier reach, and it's actually surpassed by the T28, which is 189 on alpha, odd penetration on its top gun with APCR, but it's got that high rate of fire gun again. Now, you have just enough alpha to move up to Tier 5 and really duke it out with the big boys, and you've got more than enough penetration on your AP to move up to Tier 5 and pen the big dogs as well. Now, if we have a look at my stats in this tank in particular and compare it to my other low-tier seal clubbers, like the Pzr B2 and the Matilda, you'll see that it just shines. 708 average damage in the Pzr B2, 828 average damage in the Matilda, and the 4D flogs them. It's over 1,000 average damage. It's at 82% after 91 games, and I think only about 25% of those games have been platooned. You're going to find Tier 4 is a real melting pot. It's an interesting one because there's a lot of people in there with stock guns and stock tanks who don't know how to drive and who are really going to struggle. And if you go in and play this like a proper Tier 8, 9 or 10 peekaboo style tank, you will clean up big style. Now, a little bit of housekeeping before we move forward. I had my first ever podcast yesterday with Left Turn and Lokeen from the North American server, and I've been frequenting the forums over there a touch more. Been great fun, and I really appreciate the opportunity. I'll be hopefully getting a press account to jump on that North American server and play a few games with the boys from Triari, and also posting some more videos up there. But if you do want to find me day in, day out on the Asian server portal under the game discussion section, always chatting there, on Twitter at Bushka on Blitz, or obviously leave me a message in channel and I'll get to it ASAP. So we're going to have a look at the armor profile, but I will talk a little bit about my loadout, consumables and equipment. I do carry a little bit more APCR than I normally would on a standard tank, mainly because It's not the most accurate tank, and you don't want to be going for second shots when you're getting behind a Matilda or a KV1 or something of that note, and you really want to make sure those shots go in. The 0.42 dispersion is reasonable when it's not life and death, or you're just peek-a-booming, but when you're actually circle of deathing someone like a KV1, you do not want to be leaving anything to chance. Your mobility is such that you are just fine. You can get around KV1s, you can get around Hetzers, you can get around, you can certainly circle of death Matildas. Pzr B2s can be a bit of a struggle if you don't watch yourself, because they're mobile enough to get up close and personal and put DPM down. Now you see here I run rammer, vents, and gun lane drive. Gun lane drive is really your best option here. I'd much rather revert stab, but I can't get it here. All about the front loaded damage with this tank. You'll see when we get to my consumables that everything is about putting damage on. I run chocolate, adrenaline, and multi-purpose resto kit. Now the reason for that is I want to maximize my crew skills. I've already got vents with chocolate in there as well. I'm then maximizing reload times, view range, camo, all the soft stats I can affect, I want to affect. And it's a bit of it can be a train wreck. You can get tracked and then not have a second kit to untrack, or you'll use your fire extinguisher and then get tracked, those kind of things. So you've got to play carefully. You've got to play it like a proper tank. And that's important because at this tier, not many people play them like proper tanks. You'll see really wild fluctuations in team tactics and ability. And what that does is give you the opportunity to capitalize and actually smash them up. Now, it's a tough tank to grind through. The first couple of things you want to get in terms of module. Oh yeah, by the way, I run adrenaline instead of engine boost on this tank. You're all about damage. You want to have situations where you're utilizing the gun. You'll see in the armor profile, there is no real armor. Your armor is blowing them up first. So keep that in mind, team. I play this very, very aggressively in terms of my loadout. I don't play it very, very aggressively in the gameplay, as you'll see. Nearly all my risks are calculated, and they're putting that in. Let's get to the gameplay and you can worry about it there. The grind, I'd probably go for the gun first. Straight through the turret, which is grand to get you a little bit more view range and all that kind of thing. But the gun's where it's at, 6.5 rounds a minute, 160 alpha, which is about a third of your hit points at this tier if you're in this tank. And then worry about the engine, which is actually quite a nice pickup. It's a 90 horsepower pickup. The Maybach, or Maybach, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And your tracks, always good to get a little bit more mobility, and they are important, but the gun, get the bloody gun. Don't worry about diverting off this line here down to the 39L60. You want to keep pumping along that line at the top, through the turret and into the gun, because the gun makes the tank. Without it, you're just another no armor tier 4 running around struggling to do damage. Now, we're going to have a look at the armor profile, and I hope you bear with me while we do that, because there's not much to talk about when we talk about the armor profile. And what a wonderful armor profile it is if you want to do a St. Patrick's Day parade, because God, this thing could lead the Shamrocks down the middle of the street. It's all green, all green, all green. The only thing you are going to bounce shots with is your tracks, or maybe if they hit your gun, it's just a lot of green. And this is from the perspective of the Matildas 2-pounder. So you can see what I'm saying. You don't want to get into a DPM race with people because they will pen you every time. There's nothing you can do about that. You might bounce lower tier autoloaders or people grinding stock guns that are absolutely hopeless, or firing HE as someone in the video does to me, and you'll see that. What you won't do is bounce serious guns like guns on the Matilda or any of the tank destroyer guns, even like T18s and things like that will pen you quite comfortably. And when you get into the tier 5 matches, as you'll want to do in this tank, then you're going to get absolutely smashed to bits. So what you want to make sure you're doing is that derpy peek-a-boom playstyle. And we're going to cut right into that more and more as we go forward. I did mention this has 10 degrees of gun depression, negative 10 degrees of gun depression, which means you are a great little hill fighter tank. You can see there. Use the mobility to duck forward, take your shot, move back. Now you've got 0.42 dispersion, so you're not always going to hit, but that doesn't matter. Just don't get hit yourself. Always play the hit point game in this tank. Don't get hit. Take the safe shot. We're going to move forward and look straight at the gameplay, and we're going to have a chat about things right from the start, looking at how this tank plays. Now, I knew this tank was going to be something special right from the get-go. This is my first game in the tank. Very first game. First shot in the tank in my very first game. And if this isn't a good omen, I don't know what is. Ammo rack. One shot, one kill. And I should have retired it right then. You can't get much better than that. One shot, one kill. It's got a big gun for its tier. Really, 75 millimeters is just dandy. Now, we're pushing forward here on Rockfield, mainly because there's a great spot here at the bunker. Anyone who's watched me and my videos for a while will know about this spot. We talk about it on the podcast whenever that comes out. You can camo up here, do whatever you need to do, and they won't see you. Unless, of course, you've got a decent player on the other team who rushes forward and spots the bunker. The problem at this tier with that kind of thing is that while this guy's done the right thing in a big tier game where the rest of his team would move up and smash me from the right-hand side there, they're very lackadaisical. And tier 4, you can't rely on that kind of stuff. So you can see he's probably done the right thing and been punished for it. This guy's done the wrong thing. And you can see the alpha on this gun. Like, they're big whopping chunks of hit points we're taking off this tank. That T28, and he's got a high rate of fire gun, but doesn't have the gun depression we have either, I don't think. Here we go. We're just racking up the hit points, racking up the damage. Moving forward, we're camoed now, so we get to shoot whatever we want. And you can see we're firing AP, and it's all green, all penning all the time. And that's the beautiful thing about this. This is a tier 4 game, and you'll really start licking your chops when you find yourself in tier 4 games, because you will be absolutely penning everyone very easily from all over. Now, I did note that it's not got much in terms of armor, but it's got great mobility. It's not tier leading mobility. You know, we're not talking Leopard or Leopard 1 or anything like that. What we're talking about is enough mobility to play peekaboo. And you'll see here, we're keeping our turret just over the top. We take that shot, and that's a hard shot for this tank to hit because it is high dispersion, but we're not moving forward. We're not YOLOing down to the enemy. We're just taking our shots where they come and then reversing out. Now, that's peekaboom, guys. If you're watching this and you're a young tanker in terms of games played, you might be an old man, you might be an old girl, I don't know. But if you're a young tanker in terms of game played, this is what you want to be doing. We're just going along the edges, along the fringes, finding our targets, not taking any risks and not exposing ourselves to enemy fire. You can see we're still full hit point. We're still full hit point, and we've had so many shots on the enemy, and we've had no shots at us, really. There's not been any opportunities for them to hit us. We're only exposing ourselves now because this guy's the last guy, and you can see the damage on it, just taking big whopping chunks of hit points off. Good gun depression lets you fight on hills like that and move in and out very comfortably and be hulled down without worrying about missing shots. Now, that's 1,646 damage at this tier. I've got news for you. You've got to be over 2k to get a gold M on this tank because there's some seriously big damage numbers come up on this tank. I've had 4 games in excess of 2k in this tank. 2 of them were losses where everyone else just folded around me, and 2 of them were wins. Or maybe 3 of them were wins. I forget. You can see here, that's a good hit for this tank. Normally it does struggle cross-map sniping. But what we're more worried about here is people seeing us and penning us from the left-hand side. We're an easy pen from there. And we've been spotted, so we know that they're coming up on the right, and we move forward accordingly. That BT7, though, you'll absolutely hammer him. He's got a pretty rubbish gun. There we go, 162, and you can see that's taken nearly half his hit points. Now, he's a tier 3, but all that said, it's only a tier below you, and you're a medium tank, and you've taken half his hit points. That SU, again, this is what we're talking about. Peekaboom. This is big boy playstyle, guys, and this is where you want to be. You want to be using the terrain. You can see there's a car in front of us, and they've got big, high reload, inaccurate guns. There's no reason not to take advantage of that. Not many tanks at this tier do have really accurate weapons, and you should be taking advantage of that because Why give them an even break? Don't stay out there for too long and let them get that reticle down to a decent size. And the Matilda or the BZ2 would have just rolled forward here, bounced shots and hit them. And that's all well and good, but this is much more fun for me. This is a far more electric play style where you've actually got to put effort and thought into the game. I'm not giving them any shots. They're still waiting. I'm just waiting to see what pops up. And eventually at this tier, people get very frustrated and they make mistakes. And you take advantage of that. This SU hasn't moved, and he's a tank destroyer. He doesn't have the mobility. He's just giving us frontal shots. If we can actually suck a shot out of him, then he's in all kinds of strife. And that's what we're aiming to do here. You can see we're balking, we're going forward, we're juking backwards. I'm just trying to get a shot off him. It doesn't matter. We've got good gun depression. We can fire over the top of that if he's going to hold his fire. We miss it, but that's what we're trying to do. He's being really patient, but eventually he has to fire. And when he does, it's good night, nurse. He's on a long reload, so we just go out there and nut him again when our reload's done. We've got the hit points. We don't... Oh, that's what happens at 0.42 dispersion, guys. What did you think of that shot? You get some wild ones. There you go. Now we're down a tank, but that's all right. We're feeling pretty confident. They've only got 2 tier 4s left, and we know where they are. We're using the camo, using the big gun, using the gun depression. No worries getting a shot over the top of this into that poor old M3 medium. This guy next to me, the medium 3. God, that's a funny looking tank. It looks like it's got 2 boobs on the front. Just moving forward. They're not moving out of the cap circle. All 3 of them are there. There's a Hetz there somewhere as well. Look at the big whopping chunks of health that come off whenever you hit them in this tank. Honest to God, the 4D, I did not have much thought at all that this tank would be that successful, but it's been a wild revelation for me, this thing. And just rolling forward, one-shotting, everyone's on a one-shot there. We're just getting the shot every time. Poor old M3, he has to turn and traverse because he doesn't have a turret. BT7 next. Thanks for coming. All these little one-shots. And now we're going to go and finish off the Hetzer. You see what I mean about this being a proper tank. It's not a YOLO. It's not a Hetzer. It's not a B2. It's not a Matilda. You don't just roll forward. If this tank was played by someone who has not played the game before and they were played in a really just follow the herd and run into the middle of the field kind of style, like a lot of the tier 4 stuff is, yeah, it's nothing special. Then you're just going to get hammered because you don't have armour. And armour is probably overvalued at this tier because you can get away with all kinds of rubbish and all kinds of sin play when you don't have armour at this tier. When you have armour at this tier, sorry. But when you actually roll forward with a tank that you've got to think about and you've got to put some tactics into, you can see there, that's another 1600 odd game and that's second class. We're going to have a look at this Malinovka map. Now you'll see at the top of this little tree, this gorgeous little grey thing is going to have the run of the field because I can actually look over the top of this with good gun depression, no worries at all, and good gun depression, good, yeah, look at that. The biggest thing you're going to find at this tier on this, look, people are going to drive in front of you. Pimp Daddy's actually here with me. This is one of the, I had a small plat run with Pimp and a small plat run with Aegon. The rest of the time, it's been solo. That's something else you should know about this tier. If you're platting, what the game will do with matchmaking is often match you up with other platoons. And the guys who are generally platting at this tier are good players driving good tanks. So although me having a low platoon rate and a good win rate in this tank sounds like an interesting one, it's actually not as zany as you think. It's running into less trouble because I'm not platting than I am when I platoon. When you platoon, you'll run into good tanks and good players. Now you can see there we're penning the Matty through the front of his turret. We're going through his bloody gun mantlet and his hatch. We're using a Pzr for that, but that's because we're hitting the hardest part of his armour profile. And you can see how derpy it is, but because we've got that mobility and we can move backwards and forwards and we've got good gun depression, that's fine and dandy. Pimp runs straight. Thank God team kill's not enabled anymore. This map would see so many people getting dusted. There you go. There's every time I think I've got a shot, poor old Pimp's got it rolled up. And this Matty in front of us is ruining the day as well. There you go, 170 damage on that one. It's all very straightforward. And Peek-a-Boom, this is the epitome of a Peek-a-Boom game. We don't expose ourselves until we've got a shot in the barrel. It's just so much easier. You don't have to worry about that. Pimp's done the right thing. He's moved down to take care of the flankers, and he's actually going to cop a really hard time because the guys down there, I believe, are bots or AFK. They're doing nothing. And Pimp gets left with a big call. We decide to go and help him. We see one go down. We're going to go straight away. Can't be helped. Has to be done. The rest of the team's here. That Matilda's been taken care of. I can only see one tank down there, and I can already see two here. So the smart play is to move down the field. Now, if you have a look here, you'll see the Coventer, and there's a T46 and an A20 pops up here as well. The DW is doing nothing. You'll see this gun is a little bit of a worry. Anytime you've got to shoot at range, you've got to let that reticle go all the way down, or it will be a struggle. The Commoner is really, really the biggest worry here, though. It's not that he's going to pen me. It's that I don't have a lot of hit points, and if I've got to deal with a multiple amount of tanks and he's aggressive, then we could have been in strife, but he's not, thankfully. There's T46s, however, and we just nail him as he comes around the corner. And then we're fine because there's two tanks left, and I've got enough hit points in the hit point pool to deal with them, and they can't afford to be aggressive at all. The Commoners are one shot. The A20 is not many. Look at that. Don't get this tank because you think it's accurate. It's not. Get this tank because you're prepared. Look at these shots. 0.42 dispersion. Bushka, let the bloody reticle settle, you numpty. And we do. The next shot, I believe, we actually take our time. We just get a little bit of a raise in the ground, use the gun depression, and knock him. Now it's just the A20, and he's actually firing heat, which is an interesting development. Not heat, sorry, HE. You'll see he bounces one off me, and you can see one going to the ground next to me. But he's the last one left, and we've tracked him down. Now this is another solid damage game. Doing anything in the high 1000s in this tank is doing 3 times your hit points, which is, I mean, you go into a tier 10 game, or that's like doing 6k. So you're doing big numbers and you're killing lots and lots of tanks. But yeah, apparently there's some good drivers out there driving these things because it's hard to get a mastery in. That's him firing HE. That's what I'm saying about tier 4. If you're patient with it and you play correctly, you'll catch guys there that just don't know how to play or don't have the tank that can compete at that kind of tier, and you can take advantage of it. It's why some of the numbers are so gaudy on people playing tier 4 tanks. 1800 damage, only the 3 kill shots. Now this one is a little heart stopper. This is Middelburg. Now in this tier you will find all kinds of lights and mediums. So the medium channels are always going to be chock full, and it makes the top of this map very, very exciting. Knowing that is going to happen, there's going to be a lot of guys up there who might not have optics and might have poor sight range or view range. I've pulled all the way up to the top of the hill and I'm having a field day. Look at this. Great spot to go if you've got other tanks up here with you on Middelburg. Again, remember, this is a very derpy gun. You do not want to be firing at targets that are moving too quickly, but you can certainly get away with it here. In the 4D, he's our first victim. We are firing on on the reload, basically. Yeah, no one's moved forward far enough to give us any strife. That will happen. There's that T40, and he's certainly someone we want to be worried about. He's got a long reload, big dispersion, big damage gun, so we're moving. And you can see the shots coming in over the top. We're actually a tank down despite all that. That guy there that T40 got, unfortunate, but he was up on the hill exposing himself, as was our other tank just up here. You can see the carcass. I think that's an M3 light in front of us. And this is where we're talking about that Peek-a-Boom style. Nut one into the top of him with that gun depression. You can't beat good gun depression on hills like this. Allows you to not expose too much of your armor and actually hammer them. That's just 2 shots there into that cov, and he's history. And we're just working this ridge line. really doing the good work. This ridgeline's a great thing for us. You can see getting shots where we can. They don't have the gun depression, some of these tanks, to actually take advantage of the cover. And that T40's thought he can get a few sneaky ones in on the guys down below, and we're giving him the what for because of that. We want to get rid of him really quickly. He's a worry. And there he goes. So 3 tanks to 4 is the current climate, and things are looking tough. But we've got 1 tier 4 tank left to kill, and then it's all tier 3s, which is good news because that means pen numbers are better, or their pen numbers are worse, and we've got 3 tier 4s left. So you'd have to think we're a fairly good chance here, evenly matched. We're very low though. We're a 1 shot. So we're basically trying to keep safe and sound and yeah, get away from everyone, get some cover here behind this berm. Thankfully, that Pzr III didn't look at us, and we got a very sneaky shot in. That normally doesn't go, but you'll take them when they come. And that Martyr, definitely a tank to watch out for. He can pen you. Sorry, not Martyr, medium 2. Medium 3. Good God. Here we go. We're going to miss a whole bunch of shots and bounce some shots we probably don't deserve to bounce. Set him on fire, but he catches that one. Well done, you. Very, very solid effort there, the T46. I've realised around about now that I am actually on a possible Rossini, so I'm trying to get this kill as quickly as possible and get the 7. Look at this. Rossini, stop missing! Oh, jeez. Everyone's a 1 shot. No one's willing to expose themselves, so I'm backing up here to give myself a shot. I'm going to let this one go in and we get the kill, but it's too late. The A20 has taken out the other enemy team member. But a 6 kill game, 2,000 damage, I believe, this one. And yeah, no mastery. That's how tough it is to get the mastery in this thing. Only a first class sniper, top gun, and a ranger destroy all enemy light tanks with 2,059 damage. So we've carried massively and still not picked up the mastery. So here we are on mines. I believe this is the last map, and we're trying to go out with a bang. We're going to push. Have a look at this bloke next to me. The Pzr III doesn't know what he's doing. He's just going to run into me. This is the tier, boys and girls. This is why you pay the money and take your chances. And he's just firing. I don't know what he's doing. Can't tell you. Where are these people? Who are these people? He's a guest account, I think. He's a lovely hand at the old guest account. We've pushed up, fire away with one. That's just a hopeful one. Now this is where we really see the gun depression come to the fore. We have dropped adrenaline immediately. We're going to get into a situation here where we can move backwards and forwards and actually use... Oh, thanks very much, Pzr III. You've been fantastic. You do all kinds of good work in this film. Look at him. But that's all right because we've got good gun depression. We can still get over the edge of that and put damage in. And you can see that M3 Lee is not long for this world. Look at this. Boom. Kill number 1. Count them up, boys and girls. Kill number 1. Here's the second one, the other 4D. There can be only one Highlander, and we are loving this gun depression. This would be very hard to do in a Russian tank. Ask anyone who's driven a T62A up here. It's a struggle. There we go. And he is going to be kill number 2. DOS. The Pzr III doesn't know what he's doing. That's fine. We're going to move along now. Turn to the right. There's no shot there for us. They're coming around the back. We really want to clear the road here. It's 1 tank to the good for us, but that's sooner raised. And I want to make sure that I don't end up on a losing team while doing massive big numbers. So we put the easy shot on the side. Oh, and it's another BT7 ammo rack. 3 kills. Let's go the M3 light. Yes, thank you. The enemy team has responded in kind, and it's now 4 tanks each. The Pzr III doing great work there. Thanks very much, mate. That was all you. But every time we get a kill, the enemy team gets a kill as well. So I'm now moving along here, trying to find them. I know they've flanked pretty hard. I'm chasing that flank down, seeing if I can't drop down and do some damage. 4 kills. I'm thinking again, possible Rossini. Let's get the Rossini. Let's go for it. Big damage game. Trying to get the gold M. Trying to get the Rossini. Can't see them though. Can't see them anywhere. I've already blown adrenaline right at the start to max the damage out and kill those guys on the top of the hill to get the king of the hill. And this Pzr IV, he is looking the wrong way. Pzr III, sorry. I'm telling the team I am attacking him, but that's a bit hopeful, really, to actually give him direction. He's a good mate. He's still following around. Oh, I love him, player. You're a great man. So we're now on 5. There is a martyr over here and a little Pzr III. I know we've got this one in the bag. I've got enough hit points. All I want now is this Rossini. Give it to me. Come on, give it to me. But this fella actually does pretty well. He's in a horrible position. He's pinned me, and then he disappears. Good on him. Peekaboo, take 2. Here we go. The martyr is up now. If I was an absolute stat whore, I would have waited till someone did damage to that martyr and then put the shot in, but I'm not. It's just not my style. I'd love a Rossini, but I don't want to get a fake one. I want to do it because I do the nuts. No other way. And 5 kills is good. 6 kills would be even better. Go for the ram to finish. Miss it. Go for the ram again. Got him. There's your 6th kill. Now, this is our gold mastery game. To get a gold mastery in this tank, that's what you have to do. You basically have to wipe out everyone in the opposition while getting bugger all help from the rest of your team. There you go. The ranger, the sniper, the top gun. 6 kills. That's a pulls. Unbelievable. 2,189 damage. Nearly 2.2k damage at tier 4. That's what we finally had to do to tip over the old gold M. So, I've been Bushka on Blitz. You've been lovely. If you're looking for a thinking person's tank at tier 4, this could be the tank for you because, honestly, you've got to drive it like a proper tank. It's peekaboo. It's don't get hit. It's you got no armor, you got big gun, go and do your best. If you want a YOLO, this ain't the tank for you. But if you're looking for something interesting, that's a bit of a change up, that's a bit of a new turn of pace, this is definitely something you should be looking into and moving forward with. If you've got any questions or queries, leave them in the channel here, guys. Always great to have a chat. Always good to know what you're thinking. I learn a lot from you guys as well. Much bigger combined knowledge base out there than just me. And as a single unit, we can do great things. There'll be more coming up. There's going to be a couple of tier 10 reviews. I can't help that. People love them. People want them. But we're going to try and delve a little more into the lower tier stuff. I've got some Pzr B2 video in the can that I want to use as well. So maybe we'll have a look at him next, although he is a rare premium. Anyway, guys, wonderful having me at your joint. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield.